Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show, and I'm here to recap the big NFC matchup here today between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. This is probably my only recap, my second and only recap for the day. It's probably the only two games I'm recapping. The only two games I'm recapping. I'll recap Broncos Texans today, so I watched that, but now I'm here to recap Eagles 49ers. Probably my second and only NFL recap today. Probably not recapping Sunday Night Football, but I might tomorrow. When I get home, we'll see. Let's talk about this game here. Brock Purdy, man. What a fantastic freaking performance by Brock Purdy. 19 of 27, 314 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And this was after having 0 yards in the first quarter. The 49ers offense looked out of sorts. The offensive line wasn't holding up. The Eagles were getting a lot of pressure on Purdy. He had 0 yards after the first quarter. But from the second quarter on, man, their offense just moved straight down the Eagles' defense. Brock Purdy played a fantastic game. 23 touchdowns to 6 interceptions on the season. While, yes, he's had a great season, don't get me wrong. I still think Dak Prescott's had a better season. Like, he has a super team. You can't tell me he's the freaking MVP. Like, yes, he put up a great performance this year. And he's ranked really good in, like, QBR, like, the pass rating and shit like that. Like, first in pass rating, completion percentage, touchdowns, attempts, yards per attempt, yards completion. He is a system quarterback. He is. He literally is if you watch the game. He's literally a system quarterback. Not to be mean to him, but it's all screen passes and, like, short passes. And they have good players that can get yards after the catch, like Kittle, McCaffrey, Debo. But he's not the best, like, talent. But the system fits him perfectly. Don't make it sound like I'm hating. But the system fits him perfectly there in San Francisco. So with analyzing all the data and using scientific calculations, he's a system quarterback, but he is the system. I shouldn't say he is the system. Kyle Shanahan's the system. But I really think he's the best quarterback for that team. But I feel like any quarterback can look good with that team. But people somehow say, oh, Jalen Hurts, ESPN will shove Jalen Hurts down our throats as the MVP. Look, I think it's Dak Prescott or Christian McCaffrey. I know Brock Purdy's had a great year, but he's a system quarterback. Dak Prescott's played better than Purdy. He's a system. But 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFC. Or just in the NFL, regardless of conference. But kind of an embarrassing performance from the Eagles. We'll see what happens though next Sunday. The Eagles have a big match against my Cowboys. Should be a fun matchup. But we're talking about this game here. I bet Brock Purdy's feeling good after that game. With a 148 passer rating, 4 touchdowns, had over 300 passing yards. I mean, most of them were probably after the catch, but he made a few good plays. You know, and some big third downs as well. But he was calm and a very well executed game. You ought to give San Francisco credit. A great executed game. Their defense getting carved up early, but they adjusted. Their offense struggled early, and they adjusted. But let's see if they can do this in the playoffs. In the last few years, they've kind of struggled in the playoffs to do this. But, I don't know if he has a case for MVP, but he can maybe be up there. But they literally have a freaking super team on offense. This Eagles team last year was a different and much better team last year. It would be more impressive if, he done it last year. But he had himself a day. But they definitely dominated. But Dak has to play well against the Eagles. McCaffrey had a great game as well. 17 runs, 93 yards, 5.5 carry and a touchdown. Also had 3 catches for 40 yards. Deebo Samuel, 3 runs, 22 yards, 7.3 carrying a touchdown, had an end-around touchdown. He also had 4 catches, 116 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Great game from Deebo Samuel, especially. Jordan Mason, 2 runs, 10 yards. Elijah Mitchell, 3 runs, 13 yards. As a team, they ran for 146 yards, had 8 yards of play, 8 of 11 on third down, 24 first downs. The Eagles' offensive line was really struggling there at the end. The 49ers were getting a lot of pressure on Hurts. Ayuk, 5 catches, 46 yards and touchdown. Kittle, 4 catches, 68 yards. And Juwan Jennings, 3 catches, 44 yards touchdown. He sure talks a lot for a guy that gets like 2 catches a game. Kinlaw had 2 sacks this game. He was great. They got a lot of pressure when the Eagles were just melting down. The San Francisco scored in the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter 14 points each. The Eagles' defense just gave up there, it felt like, in the second half. They were trying to get some energy going, but just couldn't get going. Hurts, 26 of 45, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He also had 7 runs, 20 yards, and a touchdown, a tush push, 2 total touchdowns. He went out for a drive, got evaluated for concussion, but I guess he passed the test. Mariota come in, 2 for 3, 16 yards. They just couldn't get a running game going. Swift, 6 runs, 13 yards, 2.2 carry. And then he took a big hit from Lenore. So DeAndre Swift didn't do much this game. I don't know how good of a rush defense that the opponent has. They probably, San Francisco probably has a good run defense, but that's kind of unacceptable. 6 carries, they really passed the ball. They kind of had to in the second half. Devontae Smith, 9 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 114 yards. Quez Watkins, 3 catches, 28 yards. Boston Scott, 1 catch, 27 yards. Gainwell, 5 catches, 42 yards. Reddick and Fletcher Cox got a sack on the quarterback, 5 total. They ran a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy early, but once the 49ers adjusted, that's why I started to play better. They couldn't get much pressure on them. They just dominated the rest of this game. San Francisco put the rest of the NFL on notice, in my opinion, with this performance. I know they've outscored the Eagles and Cowboys 84-29, but that was when we were at our worst, my Cowboys. If we played them again, I'm not going to say we beat them, but I think we put up a much better performance with the way Dak's playing right now. But they have a great freaking play caller in Shanahan. And the Cowboys, I think, are like a 3-point home favorite against the Eagles next week. We'll see. But yeah, it's off Savers game. So until next time, peace.